Everyone fights, no one runs. Welcome to the Kill It podcast, where I, Christopher Bob Roberts, explain how I became healthy, wealthy, and happy by being ruthless with my friends, family, customers, and especially myself. And today we're going to talk about self-discipline versus self-knowledge. Now, a lot of people probably think I'm a big self-discipline guy, and I certainly am. I believe in doing what it takes to reach your goals. I believe in being consistent, doing what you have to do, whether you want to do it or not. And I believe in playing the long game. What do you want out of life as opposed to what do you want in the next 2 seconds? However, I'm also a thinking person. I like to not just work hard or work smart. I like to work hard and smart. And in this case, I like to combine self-discipline with self-knowledge. In other words, don't just rely upon discipline. First of all, put yourself in the situation where it will be easiest to stick to your program. Then, once you've put yourself in a situation where it is easiest to stick to your program, then you use self-discipline to make sure that you stick on that program. Now, that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm going to eat cupcakes and I'm going to play pickleball because that's the food that I enjoy and, that's the workout that I enjoy. If you want to run a marathon, you damn well better be running lots of miles. Pickleball ain't going to cut it. If you want to bench press 500,000 pounds, you better be bench pressing often. Pickleball ain't going to cut it. You have to do what it takes. And whether you want to bench press a lot or you want to run a marathon, eating cupcakes ain't going to cut it, okay? So you have to do what it takes to get to your goals, but you don't have to make it any harder than it has to be. For instance, I am not good at getting to the gym. I love being in the gym, and I really love having worked out. I love that feeling after I've worked out. I love being in the middle of the gym, but I don't do a good job of getting to the gym. So what I do is I remove any other options. I remove any, do I go in the morning or do I go in the afternoon? Because that quickly becomes, oh, screw it, I'll go tomorrow. I'll start then. I know that. As disciplined as I am, I know that if I give myself an option, I am going to opt out completely. So what I do is I make it as hard as possible for me to have any options. For instance, a lot of people, say, well, how do I wake up early in the morning or how do I stay on a schedule or a diet if I'm working shifts? When I got out of the Army, I was doing shift work. My first job out of the Army was a trainer for a security company, but I could not get that job training supervisors and training guards and stuff until I'd actually done the job. So I had to do shift work. I had to do work as a guard for a few months, and I had to work as a supervisor for a few months, and I had to work as a daytime supervisor, which meant I dealt with, the office, I dealt with, lots of stuff, documentation and lots of like logistical stuff that you don't have to deal with when you're the night shift supervisor. So I was doing different shifts for several months before I was able to actually, get my job of being the trainer. And what I would do is I would come home from work, and I would go to bed. Let's say I worked until 10, got home at 11 at night. By midnight, I was in bed. And when I woke up, the first thing I did was go to the gym. Absolutely no other options. I didn't go shopping. I didn't go ahead and pay bills. I did all of that on days when I wasn't going to the gym or days where I had off after I had gone to the gym. But I stuck to my plan. And if it was a Monday and I had woken up at 8 o'clock in the morning because Sunday night, I got home from work and asleep at midnight. Well, Monday is whatever workout. I'm in the gym shortly after 8 o'clock, do my workout, take a shower, have my post-workout meal, and then I do whatever until it's time to go to work. Okay? That is the way that I ran stuff. I mean, there were times when I would get off work at 6 in the morning, and I would go ahead and I would sleep. Okay, let's say I got home at 7, was asleep by 8. So I woke up in the early afternoon. First thing I did, I went to the gym. I didn't have a discussion. I didn't put it off. I didn't do anything. I did that first thing. Later on, when I was actually working in the office, I had normal hours. I realized if I came home to change my clothes, that I would not get up and go to the gym. I would miss my workout that day, which would screw up the whole week. I realized if I came home and sat down for 1 second, that I probably wouldn't get up for a long time, and then I probably wouldn't go to the gym. So at first, it was like I'd come home, change my clothes, not sit down at all anywhere, just come home, change my clothes, grab my bag, go to the gym. That became, I would take my bag with me to work. I would change my clothes in the office. I would get into my car, drive straight to the gym, and then after that, I would come home because that made it even easier. Okay? What I'm basically saying is, yes, you have to be disciplined, but you also have to set yourself up for success. A lot of people say, that there's no difference between whatever diet you do. I say that a lot of people get results on the ketogenic diet because they have no discipline. They have an actual sugar addiction, a junk food addiction, a processed food addiction. Processed food tastes good. It is intended to get you to drink more, to eat more, okay, or to drink more. I mean, David Goggins, let's talk about David Goggins. When he was fat, he was talking about chocolate milk. It's like milk, but it's got extra sugar and extra calories in it, and it tastes extra good, okay? And that was apparently one of his issues when he was very overweight, okay? So I believe that a lot of people get results on the ketogenic diet that they didn't get result on any other diet because that is their trigger food. Self-discipline, eat your calories. Don't eat more, don't eat less. Get your protein in, get your carbs in, get whatever foods in, and be self-disciplined. Well, that's fine, but if you are a legitimate carbohydrate or sugar or processed food addict, don't eat the damn stuff in the first damn place. Like I said, that works with me, that works with a lot of other people. I mean, it's like being an alcoholic. I remember my family actually had a couple alcoholics in it. So I actually went to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings as a child. And I'm an old man. I'm 49 years old right now. I remember it was probably the 80s, and this guy was talking to me. He had been sober for a while. So, I mean, it was probably maybe, I don't know, the 50s, the 60s, what he was telling me about. He's like, oh, people would tell him like, you don't have to quit drinking. Just have one drink and make sure it lasts all dinner. Just have like one beer or one wine or whatever with dinner, and don't drink like 3, 4, 5, 6 glasses of wine with dinner. And he's like, that shit just didn't work for him. He had to stop completely drinking. And that is what worked. Okay. So what I'm basically trying to say here is whatever it is that you have to do to make things easier, the first thing you need to do is just do that, okay? Just know your weaknesses, know thyself, know what triggers you to overeat, know what triggers you to drink, know what triggers you to get yourself in trouble, know what triggers you to do something, or know what gets you to procrastinate, okay? In my case, doing anything before I go to the gym causes procrastination, okay? You need to make sure that you cut all that out and make it as easy as possible. So as I always say, come up with your goal, come up with your plan to get the goal, come up with your structure to work the plan to get the goal, but make sure when you come up with that structure that it's as easy as possible for you to follow, okay? So like I said, I mean, work hard and work smart. In this case, we're talking about be as disciplined as possible, but set up a plan knowing your weaknesses and strengths so that you need as little discipline as possible to go ahead and continue with the plan. So, like I said, it's a little bit better than just being like hardcore, drink and just be disciplined, not to get drunk all the time. Well, maybe just don't drink. Hardcore, just eat a little bit of candy every day. Maybe just don't eat candy at all. Maybe just go straight keto. Get up in the morning, go straight to the gym. Because like I said, that's worked for me. And like I said, as cool as it is to be hardcore, I mean, a lot of the time I do workouts where I know they're hard, and it takes a lot of discipline and it takes a lot of courage for me to go ahead and do them because I know they're hard. And that is a point for me to train my spirit, to train my discipline, to train my aggressiveness, okay, to accept the fact that things are going to be hard sometimes. But that's, like I said, that's in the gym. That's when I get to the gym, I have to do this hard workout, whether it's lifting a lot of weights or whether it's doing some really hard interval cardio. Like, that's the part where you build your spirit. but putting yourself in a situation where it's as difficult as possible to get to the gym in the first place, coming up with a diet that's as difficult as possible for you to stick to is just pure stupidity, because life is hard enough as it is. You don't have to make it any harder. Okay? Like I said, just come up with your plan and think to yourself where your weaknesses and strengths are, incorporate them into the program to execute the plan, and you will get better results. And don't think it's a cop-out or taking it easy, because like I said, it's hard enough to do the work under the best possible conditions. So it's not being weak to just go ahead and set yourself up for success. So, don't forget to subscribe to the Kill It Podcast wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. And make sure you go to ChristopherBobRoberts.com, where you will find links to every platform on which the Kill It Podcast can be found, as well as links to all my social media accounts, all my digital courses, and an application for my one-on-one coaching. Aside from that, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys again in the next episode.